Make sure that people are unsubscribing because every person that unsubscribes is one less person that you don't have to worry about.
I want you to repeat that really quickly because I think people might be like, I heard her wrong. No.
You want people unsubscribing because one, every person that subscribes to you costs you money. Either because you're paying for them to be on your list or because you're worrying about how your messaging is relating to them. So when someone unsubscribes, it's one less person that you're having to worry about managing your message for or whatever, and you're creating space for someone who really does need you.
Welcome to The Right to Inspire. Journalist and host Sarah Strackhouse has worked at Fox News, the CW, CBS, NBC, and Time Warner cable stations across the country for more than 10 years. And is now focused on telling inspiring stories of those dedicated to making change. She's driving the message home that ultimately you have the right, the freedom, and the power to be the change you want to see in the world. You have the right to inspire.
Thanks so much for joining us for The Right to Inspire. Today's guest is someone who I hold very near and dear to my heart, not only because she's an amazing human and has done so much for women in business across the country, across Dallas, probably across the world, but also because of what she's done in my life. So before I just continue to ramble on and on about her, Suzanne Castle, thank you so much for joining us.
I mean, I'm already teary. Are you kidding? This is going to be amazing. I love and adore you. Thank you for how you are allowing women's voices to be heard, to get visible, and literally how you are weaving stories that are not yet heard. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. That's so nice, Suzanne. And I was just thinking about it so much, how to introduce you, because there are so many things, so many ways to talk about you. And you are the most humble person. So I knew if I just left it up to you that you wouldn't say all of the amazing things. Like you were a former Broadway dancer on top of the entire entertainment world. You've done a million things, dancing and, showcasing a, professional ballerina. And then on top of that, you won a Stevie Award recently, speak at international conferences. I mean, very coveted by speakers, speakers, companies and organizations to bring you in to talk about business and reshaping your mindset. But I'm going to go through a little bit of a formal background. You're a shepreneur coach who helps women entrepreneurs and business leaders spark innovation solutions and build thriving, sustainable strategies for growth. Not only have you helped a ton of women, but also me change my mindset from employee to entrepreneur. Yes. So I can personally attest to what you've done. But before we get into that, and before we get into an amazing event that she has coming up mid-October, Verve, very, very exciting. I do want to talk about that. But before we get into that, I want to talk about your entertainment past because it is so interesting and not something that everyone has even a little bit of a peek into. So I want to talk, how did you get into dancing? How did you really get into that side of your life? And then I know there was a major change. So I'm going to let you talk about that, what happened, and kind of sparked that.
Okay, I would love to. And thank you for that. Well, honestly, I think I came out of the womb as an entertainer. My poor parents. I was a backseat baby, if you know what that is. My poor parents had to get married because of me. And I came out ready to entertain the world, Sarah. And I was the kid that threw concerts. Every time my parents had people over, I was performing in some way from the time I was 2. And the only thing I ever wanted to be was on Broadway. That was it. And I just knew I had it within me, like that was it. That was the pinnacle. Right. And my parents did everything they could to make sure that I had every opportunity to make that come to pass. And I was lucky. That's what I would say. I was lucky. And I got discovered. I worked really hard.
Lucky, but also work ethic. I don't want to take anything away from what you've done. You have worked hard to get there, right?
I did work really hard. But let's be honest, you're not everyone's something.
Sure.
And I would get into auditions and my hair was too long and I wouldn't cut it. Or I had the wrong eye color, or I was 5'2" and they were looking for someone 5'6". Sometimes they're just not the right thing.
Sure.
And so
it's a hard industry.
It's really hard. You just have to toughen up pretty quick. But there were times when I'm like, I'm going to bring the razzmatazz. I'm the person. And I also knew that. And that's how I got some roles that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise gotten. And I just knew that this was the thing. I used to have people chase me in the airport for my autograph. And that world really rocks you in a way when it is not there anymore. Sure. And I had a pretty major fall and it ruined my dancing career. And I had to decide in that moment what I was going to do next. And I had to throw myself a pity party, but it was really fabulous. Like if you're going to throw a pity party, you got to make it really, really great.
Make sure there's lots of streamers, amazing.
All the things, all the sad songs, buckets of cookie dough, you know, whatever you have to do to like make it amazing. And then I had to decide I could be a victim in my story, or I could use my story as a way to vault me to something else.
Sure.
And really, honestly, thank God for my mom's friends who said, oh, you were in Cats. Would you come speak to our women's luncheon? Oh. And I thought, okay, well, that's just a different stage. So sure, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but say yes. Yeah. I improv, right? Always say yes and. So yes, and I'll figure that out next. And that really launched me. So I say I fell into business because I did. I fell off the stage and into what I have my business career now is speaking and helping other women realize that what has happened to them is not what defines them now.
Right.
And so that's what the Sparkle Factor is all about, is reminding you that what has taken your light away is not what is there. There's always a glimmer of light somewhere, and we're going to pull that out and help you boss your brain into something better.
Right. Well, now you just said the Sparkle Factor, because that is your trademark, incredible company. Can you talk a little bit more about what that is specifically? And one thing I do want to know is that Suzanne is incredible. She's inspiring. She can take you through things for your heart, but she's also extremely focused on the brain science, action oriented. You come away with action steps. I come away with every single meeting. I come away with homework and action steps in order to make myself and my business better, not just my work life, but also my personal life. So that's what I really love about you. But I really want you to talk about the Sparkle Factor and how you can implement it into your everyday business.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I will say for me, the Sparkle Factor is holistic with the W, meaning you have to wholly be aligned. So if something's wrong in your business, you bring that home. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's
absolutely.
Okay. And if something's wrong personally, you are carrying that to your business.
Yes.
So I decided a long time ago, we have to come at things holistically. And we have to work first internally with your story, saying to myself, okay, if I get up every day and I say, today is going to be horrible, guess what? It's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
And so your brain does confirmation bias. Your brain will be like, I'm going to show you everything horrible today. Yeah. And it will confirm that all day long. So the first thing we have to do is work on self-talk and the story inside of how you want to be in the world. So that could be your goals. That could be your vision. But it also could just be, what kind of human do you want to be in the world? What is your legacy? And that's different person to person. So that's where we get to that personal side.
Right.
And then we say, okay, now how can your brain help you make that come to pass? And there are things that I can teach you, which is the Sparkle Factor. That's my trademark method, which really goes to what is the inputs in your brain. Now, what does that feeling inspire? That feeling always goes to an action or an inaction. And then from that, what transpires? Right. And in this Sparkle model map, at any point, you can change that. And so that's what I call when you're bossing your brain.
Right.
And so that really is the Sparkle Factor. So I'm helping people realize and recognize, where are you on that map?
Right.
And really, as long as you have awareness on that, and you've done a really good job of that.
Thank you.
You can change,
help.
But you can change your circumstance.
Yes.
But we're not taught that, Sarah. No one ever taught me that. I had to figure it out on my own.
Right.
And I'm on a mission now to be like, we can do this. We can make decisions faster when we know what's going on here and here.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of people who might be stuck in that point, or stuck in employee mode, or stuck building something, or stuck with that fall off the stage, they might not see the light at the end of the tunnel. They might not realize that there's help out there. How long did it take you to turn things around? Did you have to just listen to friends? Were you, what helped you get out of that tunnel?
Well, if I'm really honest, I'm still in the tunnel. Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
There's always a moment in the tunnel. Every day there's a moment.
We're all in the tunnel.
We're all in the tunnel every day. And I just have to decide, am I taking the detour today, or am I going to sit in the tunnel?
Right.
And so I think it is a lifelong journey. So the practices that I am teaching, I'm also practicing.
Right.
I say all the
You're
time.
practicing what you preach.
Right. You're never perfecting. You're only always practicing. Because when you're practicing, you're making it sustainable for you. But what I will say to really answer your question, I didn't mean to make it aside, but to answer your question, it took years deciding that what I was not going to be what it will be anymore.
Sure.
And to close chapters is traumatic. And I don't ever want to make people feel like there's not trauma involved, and everyone has their traumas. And I think we have done a disservice to say that some traumas are bigger than others.
Sure.
It's like breaking an arm. Some person can break an arm in the NFL football, for example.
Yes.
And they can keep playing.
Right.
And some people break an arm and it devastates them for 9 weeks.
Sure.
So I don't want to say my trauma was bigger than anyone else's.
Right.
But I do think how you address your trauma informs the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So some of us are still in that moment of, I'm still informed by my trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us have used that as it's the backdrop now for my story.
Sure.
So, but that journey took me a couple of years.
Okay.
And a lot of moments on the bathroom floor.
I was going to say, so people don't have to immediately bounce back and figure it out.
No. And, I think a good example of this last night, we had lots of storms in the Metroplex when we're filming this. And the storms always trigger nightmares in me. And I've had a long dance with anxiety, and I have some PTSD in my background. And so I have night terrors. And last night was a night of night terrors. And so I woke up 3 different times with my hands around my neck. And my nightmare was I was being choked.
Oh,
and it's a repeated thing. And I know what that's about. But that's what I mean. We're never whole.
Sure.
We're never truly healed.
Yeah.
But what we do is we make a choice. Right. So today I woke up and I had to do a little self ritual and be like, okay, I can let that story hang on to me all day, but no, I got to get dressed. I'm going to see Sarah. Like, we're going to record.
Yes.
I mean, we're going to focus on what got cleared away last night. What wasn't imprinted on me.
Right. Well, I'm excited I could be something you're excited about today.
I'm always excited for Sarah.
Well, and that's great advice for people that, it's okay to be there and to not relive it, but to have those memories, but you can't let it be your consuming life. So that's amazing. So can you tell us how you created the Sparkle Factor and, how you really started coaching women? Because I know that's a huge part of your business. Also speaking, nationally, I want to get into that as well. But really, when you started taking on, clients or, taking people under your wing.
Again, it was an accident. The thing is I do a lot of business strategy now, and people look at me as a strategist, I think, more than a coach, but I wasn't ready to coach. I didn't think I was ever going to be a coach. I was about speaking, and I would go speak, and then people were like, okay, we need you to come into our company. We need for you to lead us through this. And I again, improv. Sure, no problem. Oh, I got to go figure this out.
Right.
And so I went and got certified in a bunch of different methods, from goals to master life coaching to I went through the John Maxwell program. I was already in the program for speaking, and then I went through a bunch of business programs, and I continued to be development. And then I went and got my neuroscience and my NLP.
Yes.
Whatever that means, it doesn't matter. But for me, I needed to be informed at a different level on how people bring what they're bringing into a session.
Right.
Whether that's for a workshop or whether that's one-on-one. And what I found is in conversations with people, which is really what I wanted to be having, was conversations that led to a speaking engagement or a workshop.
Yep.
But then I found, people really want to be like, well, let's just talk one-on-one.
Right.
Or how
people
can
want to be handheld.
They want to be handled. And I wasn't ready for that, but I am always yes.
Yeah.
I always say yes.
Well, and I know that like major big companies like bring you in to talk to their employees and try to change mindset and work on figure out what's not working and how to make it better. So it's nice that you have all of those different facets of your company. Right. And also, I just want to say your website really quickly, just in case people are listening and they want to just know and do some Googling while they're listening. Yeah. So really quickly, your website.
It's Suzanne Castle, like a princess, SuzanneCastle.com.
Okay. Well, and so tell me a little bit about, if you have one, any favorites, your favorite time speaking, your favorite time, going in and helping an organization, your favorite time switching the mindset one-on-one, or your favorite time on stage.
Ooh. That's really,
kind of a question on the spot.
I mean, it is a question. That's okay.
Curious, yeah.
There's so many. I will say, this is trite. Every single time I speak is my favorite until the next time.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be honest.
Yep.
But I think one of my favorite transformations is I was a corporate consultant for a city in Texas. And I don't really have permission to say what that city is.
Sure.
They're a large city. And I went in for my first engagement with one of their organizations inside the city. Okay. And there was probably 50 people there.
Okay.
And I was doing a communication event with them to get them to know me.
Right.
And I walked in myself, which I'm not your normal looking corporate speaker. And I walk in a leopard skirt and glittery combat boots and a blondie t-shirt.
That's so you.
It is so me.
I love it.
And I just decided a long time ago, I'm only going to be me. I am never going to be this person in a black suit and pearls. That's not going to be me. And someone said, who are you? And I said, well, I am Suzanne and I'm your speaker today. And they were like, why should we listen to you? And I thought to myself for a minute, yes, why should you listen to me? And in all of those moments of who am I and what am I doing and why am I here? All the imposter things came flooding. And I simply said, you should listen to me because I don't look like anybody else you've ever had.
Ooh.
Which means that this is not going to be like anything else you've ever done before.
Goosebumps.
And I don't know why I said that. I have no idea.
That's amazing.
But that person ended up being a person that's now referred me for 7 other big, giant corporate contracts because that person said you were exactly right.
Yeah.
And they leaned in a different way. So I always want to return to that because it goes back to every time I've auditioned, every time we all struggle with imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And we all want to be liked.
Yeah. Of course.
And I mean, it's just a part of the human nature. And so what I say is just say it, just name it and say, I am someone that doesn't look like that. I am not going to be that person. And that is okay. And that's part of my magic. And I want it to be part of everyone else's magic. Like lean into what that is for you.
Well, and that's great advice too. And that's something that you personally have helped me with as well. I mean, at my life as a reporter, I was very in a box. You know, you can't have a ton of personality when you're talking about a fire going on behind you. You can't do these things. You know, if you're an oil and gas reporter, you know, you're talking about energy. It's all pretty serious stuff. So I have never thought to have any kind of personality that sets me separately publicly.
Right.
And that's something that you've tried to push me in my business, be myself, be unapologetically me.
Yes.
And some people will love you, some people won't, and that's okay.
Yes.
And that's what separates you. So that was something very hard for me to learn. And I know it's something that you've been pushing. What advice do you have for other women who are trying to step out of a box or are trying to take that next step and are saying, okay, well, that worked for you. But that can't work for me.
Well, the first thing that I would say is, could you really honestly work with every single person on the planet? And of course, we all giggle. We're like, well, of course not. Like, there's no way that I could ever do that. I don't have the system. I don't have the staff. Right. There's no way. Okay, well, you just answered your own question. Well, that means naturally that not everyone is going to like you and you can't be everyone's cup of tea, for example. So if that's the case, what kind of cup of tea are you going to be?
I love
or
that.
sparkly container or whatever, which means that lean into your email, Sarah Strackhouse. I'm always on your case for email.
I know.
So make sure that people are unsubscribing because every person that unsubscribes is one less person that you don't have to worry about.
I want you to repeat that really quickly because I think people might be like, I heard her wrong. No.
You want people unsubscribing because one, every person that subscribes to you costs you money. Either because you're paying for them to be on your list or because you're worrying about how your messaging is relating to them. So when someone unsubscribes, it's one less person that you're having to worry about managing your message for or whatever. And you're creating space for someone who really does need you. So even if you get down to 25 people and those 25 people are opening your emails, you know that your message is right for those 25, which then you just hammer. You just keep going towards those 25 people and you are going to grow exponentially when you figure that out.
Wow.
But if you're talking to everybody, no one's going to pay attention to you.
Dropping nuggets.
No one's going to pay attention to you. Why would they?
Right.
You know?
Right.
They can go Google.
Yeah.
I want to be ungoogleable. Is that a word? Can we make that a word?
I think it works. I think it absolutely works. Ungoogleable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I want to be. I want to be so different that someone can't go just look. And in the age of AI, it's even more important.
Yeah.
And so I want everyone really leaning into their magic secret sauce.
Right.
And so I'm trying to pull that out with my clients as much as I can. And it's hard because we want to be liked.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really hard.
Well, and I know that you're very particular in how you do things. You just explained that in your emailing, how you market, how you've lived your entire life. You're very in particular in how you do things in the best way. And I know that this event coming up is hand-picked how you bring people into this room. So I want to talk about Verve. It's October 16th, 17th, 18th in Arlington, Texas.
Yes.
But I'm going to let you kind of talk a little bit about really what it is. But it's an incredible event. I think there's still maybe you just opened up a couple more spots. You extended a couple. Yeah. So talk a little bit about it and what it is.
So this is the 6th year. And let me tell a little bit about the story about how it came to be, because I think that gets to what it actually is. So you know those events that you went to and you found all of these contacts. It was amazing. You got a notebook full of people to follow up with. And you're like, it was great, but that's all you got.
Yep.
And then you went to a different event and maybe you walked on fire. I don't want to say whose event that is, but you walked on fire and you were like, that was really great. And I was on top of the mountain. And then you came back and you're like, that means nothing for the rest of my life.
Right.
Or you went to an event and you got all of these like nuggets, but you didn't know how to implement anything. Okay. I've been to all of those events.
Right.
And
you feel invigorated for a day or two. You really do. You come home and you feel inspired. I'm going to change. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then you go back to regular life.
Right. And you realize in that moment, I wasted time and my effort and my money. Because let's face it, money's a big deal.
Of course. Yeah.
And I want everything to be really important. And money's important.
Yep.
And so I decided instead of complaining, because I was doing a lot of complaining, and in my world, you don't complain unless you've tried to fix it. And so I just created my own event and I called it Verve. And the first year it was 1 day. The second year was 1 day. And then people were like, this needs to be longer. So I made it longer. So this is the 6th year. It's 3 days. And what it is all of that and more. So I created an event only for women, meaning every business is women owned, even the AV is a women-owned business, and it's for women who are multipreneurs, shepreneurs, or leaders. And you come in, and we do facilitate networking because we assign tables based on your industry. You fill out a long form that lets us know where you are, what your goals are, and we are facilitating conversations that really help move the needle. You're also getting experts in the room. People have to apply to be on the stage. It's a whole different way of doing business. And then I'm on the stage as well. But then we have dance parties, and we're making sure that you're getting fed in nutritious meals. The whole event is curated from the moment that you step in to the moment that you leave, so that when you leave, you have a book about this thick of your business plans. And whether it's 30, 60, or 90 days, you can literally walk out and go, I know what to do next. That's what makes it different, is you're getting fed. You're making contacts, and then you walk out with a plan. And I would go to this event even if it wasn't my event. And the day that I quit wanting to go to my own event is the day I stopped doing Verve.
Well, it's so funny. I've been blessed to be part of it now this is my 3rd year. And I remember last year was the first year I was actually able to sit down as an attendee. And I didn't know exactly what to expect. You hear about it and you hear people say how exciting it is and how fun and how, you learn all these things, but actually sitting through it. I remember we were sitting down, we were going through one of the worksheets, and you said, okay, you have 30 minutes. The thing that you have been worried about doing, do it now. And you said, after those 30 minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to talk to our peers about it, and we're going to work on it. And I remember I'd been pushing something off for months, something I was very, very nervous to do, a phone call that was going to kind of change my entire business trajectory. And I remember I went and I sat out in the car and I made that phone call, and my stomach dropped and I was like, heaving, and, I felt like I was going to throw up. And I came back, I was like, Stan, I just did it. And, you gave me a huge hug, and how do you feel? And I was like, I actually feel like a weight has been lifted. And I was able to completely just change my perspective from then on and do things differently, which has helped me grow in ways that I can't even explain. So for anyone out there who is thinking, oh, okay, well, it's just another event. Even after listening to all this, I can attest that it is not just another event. You come away with incredible work and homework.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. So it's very, very exciting. So if people want to come, they want to find out more about what it's about, because I know you don't let just everyone in.
I don't.
But I do know it's worth reaching out, right?
It is. And so if you just go to SuzanneCastle.com, that's just the best place to go for everything. And there's a button on there that says Verve. Verve is like energy, pizzazz, spirit, vitality. That's why we call it that. And if you go there, you can read all about it. There's video and testimonials on there, because I'm a big believer. You have to hear from people that have actually been there from all different kinds of industries. You can see the schedule. You can see the speakers. And if you decide to come and you use the coupon code STRAC for Strackhouse, Sarah, you can thank Sarah.
Thank you.
You're going to get a coupon off of that. And because we want to get you in the room if this is the right event for you. And if it's not the right event for you, that's okay too, because you need to, not everything is for you.
Right.
And that's okay. But if this is the right event for you, you need to get in this room. And we will be closing registration pretty soon. So time is of the essence, because we have curated meals that come in from this fabulous female chef. And when I say curated, I mean, they are divine. Just think about, we will have a cocktail hour called the Sparkle Social with some pretty incredible artists. Like we've had a comedian that's been on Netflix. We've had someone from American Idol. Like this is the room that we curate every year. And we have cotton candy toppers for some of the cocktails this year. So it's just fun. And I said yesterday to someone that was trying to decide to go, it's like, if Taylor Swift, sorry, Taylor, if you're listening, if Taylor Swift or a business conference, that's what this is like.
Yes.
And so it's fun, but it's also got a lot of nuggets to it.
Yeah.
So come and be along Sarah and myself. We want to welcome you.
Yeah, I'm so exciting. Well, Suzanne, I always try to end my show with kind of a little bit of an interesting question. It puts people on the spot for a second, so you could think about it. But if I think I know you very well, but if I knew you better and thinking about the audience that is watching this, what would I ask you?
Ooh.
I know it's a little bit of a weird thinker. Yes, right at the end.
Done.
Yes.
Okay. You knew me better. What question would you ask me? Do I have to then answer the question? Or?
You do.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I need to be careful what I'm asking.
Right.
I think you would ask me, what is my favorite superhero and why?
I like that. I've never had that one before.
Okay. So my favorite superhero. Now I'm gonna sneak a little bit about why I'm old. I'm old.
No.
And I used to watch the Hall of Justice. So for those of you doing the math, if you know what that is, as a little kid on the floor with my big giant thing of chocolate milk, that's what I would do on Saturday mornings. And in the Hall of Justice, there were the Wonder Twins. And the Wonder Twins would activate. You know, they would form up and they would hold their things together, and they could be whatever they needed to be in the moment. So a wall of water.
Yes.
Right. And it would allow for someone to not only, it wasn't like they always rescued, but it gave someone the nudge that they needed to do the next thing. And that is why they are my favorite superheroes. So it's not Wonder Woman, it's not Superman, but it's Wonder Twins that could be what needed to be in the moment to allow someone a chance.
And that's exactly what you do in your everyday life.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I mean, I aspire to that. I mean, and I was really close to trying to figure out a way to make Wonder Twins part of my brand. But
I love that.
with Castle as your last name, it's got to be sparkly something. So.
I mean, it's got to be princess related somehow, queen related. It's got to be. I love that. Well, Suzanne, thank you so much. Again, where can people find out about you, about Verve, if they just want to reach out and learn more about what you do?
So please go to SuzanneCastle.com. There is a ton of resources. I do free training at least once a month, and you can find out how you can get that. There's goodies. I call them goodies, not freebies. There's goodies on there. So please just come and surf around and get what you need.
All right. Well, thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you for having me. I loved this conversation.
I did too. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. Remember, you have the right, the freedom, and the power to be the change you want to see in the world. And we'll see you next time.